The immediate interventions and the preliminary investigation carried out by the high-power police investigation team have resulted in the arrest of 8 principal suspects in the case of our bank robbery and the killings in the 2 local governments mentioned in Taraba State. The intervention team that are deployed are to ensure adequate raid of all the identified criminal hideouts and equally where some of these suspects that have not been arrested are presently hiding. They are equally to ensure feasibility patrol and discrete investigation into these 2.
Banks. Yes. Wow. All right, welcome back. Wow, we all saw the footage there. I mean, that was a planned robbery. It was really planned. The way they were bombing up everywhere just to gain access into one of the banks. 5 banks were robbed at the same time, and they started off the robbery by going into the nearest police station and killing all the officers on duty before they were.
Yeah, yes, they actually disarmed them.
Yes. So a lot of people are saying this is a terrorist attack. Which I don't agree to personally, but what do you say, Mr. Ikem?
Well, if you are saying the kind of terrorism we have in Nigeria as in Boko Haram and Fulani herdsmen, because those ones are terrorists on their own, I would disagree. But what I saw in this footage, the stories we have been reading since this thing happened, cannot be described in any other way except using the term terrorism. Yes, they went to rob, but what happened was, what could be more terrifying than bombing up 5 banks, locking down a whole town? Because the stories that they came in blocked the road.
Both ends, yes.
Both ends. People were not coming in, people were not going out. The people who should provide security ordinarily for that place, as incapacitated as they are, you went to their station and killed all of them in cold blood.
9
I also
of them.
heard that there were some people who probably saw them and identified them, and they trailed them back to their homes and shot them. If this is not terrorism, I don't know what else could be terrorism. But you see the speed of response, which is why we were discussing this in one forum. And I told the person, if you want to end your career as an armed robber, kill a Nigerian policeman. If you have robbed and you have been getting away with it, once you know that you want to end your career tomorrow, go and shoot your policeman. They will, if you want to end your career as an armed robber, kill a policeman. They will come out with everything they have.
But doesn't that also say that our Nigerian police force, they actually work when they want to?
When they want to work.
That's what I'm saying.
But then should there be selection in terms of
what they ought to do?
Work on and what they don't work
If
on?
it was maybe in Ikem's house, and I go to police to report there was an armed robbery attack on me or in my house or on anybody that around me, I know that I will be asked for something like Roja to mobilize them to investigate. It happened to me recently when people bugged my shop, and I went to the police and I was asked for Roja before police moved to investigate. If you want to finish off your career as a robber, kill a policeman.
Unless I know another thing is just that the Senate president, who is actually from that side, that's Bukola Saraki, still made mention and had to put the police officers on their toes, demanding that the culprits have to be brought to book. Same thing boils down to what Patience asked. That must there be a standing order before the police gets to do their job?
Let's look at it this way. Eventually the chickens will come to roost. There have been allegations that the resources of Kwara State have been plundered over the years. Look at Lagos, for example. Thank God Lagos is rich. At every nook and cranny of Lagos State, you will find a police vehicle. You understand? So it will be very difficult for these robbers to enact what happened in Offa.
No, they can't.
It's not possible because of the heavy presence of policemen. What happened in Offa shows that one, the police is not well funded in that state. Two, it is not a normal robbery. How can Offa be cut off from the state headquarters of the police for 3 hours? How can? How can that happen? What is going on? How can that just happen? 3 hours and these people robbed 5 banks without any resistance. One, they first got to the town, took out the police, locked down the town. They came in large number. These are signatures of a terrorist organization. I don't believe that this is an ordinary robbery. I do not believe so.
Okay.
Look, for example, Boko Haram, they have been decapacitated even from the time of President Jonathan. These people, they will need money. How do they get money? By robbing. By robbing. In the United States, I've listed them as a terrorist organization. The same thing with Fulani X-Men and all that. The first thing that they do, all these foreign governments do, is to look for the sources of their funding and cut it off. Once their source of funding is cut off, they have to look for where to get money. One of the ways of getting money is going with robbing banks. If you watch that footage, those ones are not ordinary police, ordinary robbers.
My question is, let me jump in here. My question is, 5 banks. We all know that each of these banks always have security presence.
Yes.
So what happened to that security presence on that day?
We saw
They were overpowered.
They were
Are you
overpowered.
How were you overpowered?
They came in numbers.
Did they strike the 5 at the same time, or
Yes.
one
Yes.
after the other?
No, they struck
They
at the same
divided
time.
themselves.
They divided themselves.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
they struck.
Yes.
They came in
Because
numbers.
in my head, what I'm playing is, we watch movies and we see how these things are done. You first of all case the area.
Yes, they have done that.
Know where the CCTVs are, and then you strike. But this time around, we're saying 5 banks, and I know that. I mean, not to talk about Kwara people in anybody. We know that they may not be as well equipped as you would see foreign other people do their own thing. So I'm saying you go to one bank. You hear, I've never been to Offa, but I'm not thinking it's a very big town. So you would have heard that
There was
something. I mean, there should have been some.
I guess they actually
effect
split themselves.
somewhere.
They divided
so
themselves.
where I'm going is either the security people in either of these banks
Were in the
are
know.
also in on it, or something else.
They were
No.
killed, Esosa.
No.
So
First,
that
number
is
one.
All of them
They
killed.
were killed.
Yes.
This,
All the
they
security.
were taking
all
off.
the
We
banks.
saw the
Everybody was
footage.
killed.
We
Yes,
just saw a
we saw the
footage.
footage.
These guys were using grenades.
9 of them.
Armed
One of
robbers
them
don't
was
go around
a
using
robber.
grenades.
Also, only 9 policemen
At
were
the station, no.
at the station.
At the station.
I'm talking about the presence.
Everybody
at the bank.
in the bank.
How many?
was
Wait.
killed. They were all
How
shot
many
dead.
policemen
Yes.
do you think are in the bank?
Yes.
How many?
How many?
That
how
was
many
that was
people
their
are in the
post.
3 times 5. We're
That-
talking about 15.
We just saw a
More than
footage now
35 people
where the
Yeah,
policemen
died.
were. They threw a bomb in there and
In
took them
fact,
out.
the first figures that came out was over 50, and then later it came
Because
down
that was
to
what the local
30, and then the
vigilantes
police
said.
came out and said 17. And of course,
It
I know
also shows
most times the police, they play with numbers,
Yeah,
so
they downplay
that
numbers.
people
So
don't get overly,
downplay and they
you know what I mean,
exaggerate
excited.
as well. So 35 may not have been 35. I'm not saying that even if it's one soul that died, it's still something. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But I'm saying that.
Yes.
I'm saying
It's
See,
beyond
these people came in
comprehension.
numbers.
Yeah.
Is it
I'm
the
saying these are signatures
Well, they've actually
of a
cut
terrorist
about
organization.
12 suspects. They cut about
where?
2.
See.
They cut 2 in Lagos. They cut about
See.
2 in Lagos, 3.
Let us-
And they actually, the age of 23, 18, 25.
This is where we need
For,
intelligence.
wait, for me, the story of the police does not
Where
add
are they
up.
getting bombs from?
I mean-
Somebody should trail this. That's why in my head I'm thinking. You have security presence in the banks. You have and you use these are not moi kind of
Armed robbers, yes.
armory. Look at the bombs
Yeah.
and
Look
everything.
at bombs.
So
They are not
you
ordinary
were
armed
working-
robbers.
you
They are
were
not just
working with
robbers.
Also, people that have access to this kind of.
That is
And they
why-
came in numbers. They
Enough-
came in numbers.
And you know what?
That's why a lot of people are saying it could be a terrorist attack because of
No,
the
no.
kind of explosives that were used.
No,
The
patience,
number of people
patience,
that came for the
patience.
and they were
operation.
involved.
No, patience, because there's a new twist to it that they were actually sponsored by a drug baron. And you know how it is, the
To achieve
cartel.
what?
To
Do you
achieve
understand?
what?
We don't know.
You see,
That
the
has not been
the so-called
revealed.
drug baron will make more money than will make from robbing banks.
We
It is
can't
safer.
Okay,
say.
let's look at what
All
our
these
viewers
are
are
suspicious.
saying. Let's look at the feedbacks on this matter. Meanwhile, the police said most of the suspects in their custody have already already given confessional statements, you know, so that's the way to go. George from Kano says, good afternoon, police works, but mostly when the police is involved in death, they really try. This one says, hello, lack of security is the only problem we have in Offa, Kwara State, Isa Jimba. This other one from Dele in Offa too says, good day, patients. The Offa robbery was more of terrorist attack than armed robbery. This is for someone who lives in Offa, because if we had to cut short that footage. If you look at the whole length of the footage, there was at a point where part of the street, you know, was shown, and it was like a ghost town, you know. So they just shut down everywhere, and had a field day. The whole thing lasted about 1 hour. 1 hour.
And Offa was cut off from the state command.
But I'm happy at least the police, you know.
My own is all these confessions that we are hearing, that they are confessed. If I take part in a major robbery like this, I will now sit down in Offa.
Those my people, very soon.
Check me, I will sit down in Offa, waiting for the police to come and arrest me. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe. There's more to this robbery.
All right, we have some of the details given out by the police, and I think this is where Alero is talking about the robbery being sponsored by a drug baron. One named as Adegoke Shogo. He's 29 years old. He's a native of Offa in Kwara State there. And we hear he's a drug baron, and he's also an India hemp dealer. And according to intelligence report, he is alleged to be one of the sponsors of the robbery. And he has made useful statements as to the role he played in the armed robbery. And you know, have other ones like that. And should I mention that the oldest of them all is about 39?
Yes, that's 39.
That's
About
what.
6 of them are from Offa.
See, there are two sides of the story.
And most of them are actually ex-convicts. They've actually been to
See,
prison.
don't let us jump to
One of them was
conclusions.
released 3 months ago from prison, and here we are.
Police, we are only hearing the police side of the story. All these suspects, we have not heard from them. Their lawyers have not spoken. You understand? Police, the Nigerian police are notorious for, they will just say somebody's an armed robber, you will see guns before the person. Look at the Akpo 6. That's what they did. They killed those boys. It was policemen that killed them. Quickly they have arranged guns and said those boys are armed robbers. It took a judicial commission of inquiry to find out that it was the police that executed those people. See, let's take the police side of the story with a pinch of salt until we hear from the suspects.
Okay.
All this confession.
Okay,
People they have arrested, they have confessed. I don't believe it.
Let's move it along. This other one just came in and it says, what surprised me the most is that we have a Navy base at Offa. And what they will say is that we're waiting for approval before they move after 2 hours. Okay from Iba says, police are few and ill-equipped, yet police take bribe and not minding what you carry on the road. Poverty and unemployment leads to crime. More will happen. We pray this kind of robbery doesn't happen anymore. I mean, where lives are lost.
Pray.
We live
Terrible.
God has given you common sense. Let's walk towards stopping it already.
So what's now? Okay, then, Mr. Ikem, what's now the way forward?
What's the way forward?
Employ
people who can police us.
have 2 heads. People that are doing it and are getting it right in other countries, they have 3 heads.
But maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know.
Number one, let the looting of state treasury stop. Then the government will have money like Lagos State to invest in the security of the people.
Pay police better, equip them more.
Stop looting the treasury of states.
I don't think about paying police better. The people that have you interacted with police, their psyche will just make you understand some of the problems.
No, we've discussed that here at a particular one edition.
You can't equip. I'm sorry, you cannot equip somebody who is not intelligent enough to handle that issue.
Intelligence is the thing. Some of them are
our
not.
police are one of the best trained in Africa.
How are they the best trained? They are not as exposed. They are not educated. You should interact with them. You will be annoyed.
No. I've interacted with a lot of policemen.
No. You should go and interact with the ones that are on the road.
I've interacted with the ones on the road. Our policemen are intelligent.
No, they are
Mr.
not.
Femi, they give you that respect.
I've met so many of them.
Okay.
If we do
The
a
reactions
census,
are pouring in. The
If we do a
reactions are
census,
pouring in. This one says, even
70
if...
to 80% of Nigerian police
They are there. Half of them them are there because they did not have.
Okay, let's
They are trained. They have gone to training
You
school.
cannot
One
train
house.
somebody that does not.
I understand.
They would have passed
They
the
have
training
very
college.
low motivation. They have very
Now you
low
are talking.
self-esteem.
That's what the not that they are not well trained. They are
Okay,
not
let's
trained.
look at more
And
feedback.
this
Mr.
thing is
Ike, we'll come back. This one says, even if the armed robbers did not go and bomb the police station, I know that the Nigerian police will not go there until they get alerts that the robbers are gone. Please, government should also interrogate the police that were not on duty that very day, because we don't know who is who. This one says, let us not deceive ourselves. This is not an ordinary robbery. I believe this is a terrorist attack. This other one says, I don't believe those arrested, I don't believe the police arrested the robbers. Police know how to do things. How can someone selling Indian hemp would be at the back of a large thing like that?
I'm asking that to
We
what
hear
end?
from the
Say
suspects,
drug
lawyer.
baron, to what end will he go and bomb 5 banks because he wants to
How much
drugs?
is there?
Okay,
When they
I
can
mean,
sell correct cocaine and
investigations
heroin and make
on
big
this
money.
matter are
What are you talking?
ongoing by
You
the
now go and
Nigerian
carry
police.
guns. Don't believe it.
Police are still carrying on with their investigations, and we hope that they will get to the root of it. Because of our time, quickly, let's move to the next topic, which is on the Freedom of Information Act. According to the appeal court, the Court of Appeal, sitting in Akure, the Ondo State capital, has ruled that Nigerian states have no powers to reject any request filed under the Freedom of Information Act. The court ruled that the request for information, especially around public expenditure under the FOI, are made in public interest and should be honored by all states across the country. The citizens have a right to know details of expenditure of public funds generated from their taxes. So let's look at this Freedom of Information Act. And to what extent really does the public have the right, to certain kind of information? To what extent?
The sovereignty rests with the citizens. We run Lagos. We are the owners of Lagos. We are the owners of Nigeria. It is our right to know how government spends our money. How do you fight? You see, the Freedom of Information Act is one of the tools of fighting corruption. I think it was signed during the Jonathan era. Jonathan signed it into law. You fight corruption with laws. You understand? What I want to ask is, the Attorney General of Ondo State is an intelligent person. He knows the law. He can interpret the law. That's why he's there above all lawyers in that state to be Attorney General. What kind of advice did he give to his principal to challenge the Freedom of Information Act? A layman knows that, what's it called, the Nigerian police, right, came about by an act, by a federal law, by an act of the National Assembly. It's a federal law. The Nigerian police operate in every part of the country. Nobody is contesting that. And now there's a Freedom of Information Act. There's a federal law. And you are saying because it's a federal law, it cannot apply in your state. And an Attorney General of a state advises principal.
Isn't the federal supposed to supersede
I don't understand it.
Another thing that we need to have, Mr. Ike.
No, let me even say this thing. Sometimes you don't know whether to remain shocked or become disgusted or become embarrassed. The Attorney General should be a junior lawyer to the Chief Executive of the state, who was once the President of Nigerian Bar Association, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, who should know the law and all its applications in every ramification even better than the Attorney General of the state. Why did he even allow that to happen? The governor, not even the Attorney General. He's a lawyer, he's a senior lawyer. How can you say that FOI will have limited
jurisdiction
application restricted to say further something? That law was not the law of the federal government of Nigeria for Abuja. It was for this country, freedom of information in Nigeria.
Okay,
because we run a very
you know, right now, Mr. Femi, sorry to cut you short there, because right now we have several states. Because if you could remember, sometimes late last year, Lagos State are also having this same issue
talk about Lagos.
About that, because we have the same issue with Lagos State complying. Akwa Ibom, Ondo, then which other state? Adamawa. Those are actually the 4 states that don't want to comply
That
with
don't
the
want to comply.
yes with the FOI law.
Let's look at this. Let's look at this. We are fighting corruption, isn't it? The Freedom of Information Act is for the citizens to take a look at what is happening in government house, especially the account of the state, isn't it? A government that is that has nothing to hide. We don't go against the Freedom of Information Act. Look at Lagos State government. I'm very angry, very, very angry. Who is the Attorney General of Lagos that advised, is it Ambode, not to go to court and challenge that FOI? Who is the Attorney General? Now that it was defeated in Lagos court, Lagos lower court, right?
Yes.
No. Now the matter has been appealed.
Yes, it has.
Wait. The matter has been appealed. The matter has been appealed by Lagos State government. You understand? By the advice of the Attorney General. Now, a decision of the appeal court has come, and by the law of precedence, the lawyers tell us that appeal of Lagos State government will be struck out. You understand? Okay, Akeredolu and co, they can now take the matter to the Supreme Court. But I want to tell you something. If I were the Attorney General for Lagos State government, I will resign. I will try and keep at least what remains of my integrity. I will try and keep it. I will resign. Or Ambode should fire him. Because let me tell you what happens. A lot of these the Attorney General office, they employ lawyers most of the time to prosecute cases for them. You understand?
It's true.
You are giving the lawyer money. Apart from money, maybe you give them some enabling logistics. You understand? You are burning the money of Lagos State government. You are burning the money of Ondo State government to chase nothing.
Because you said it's just a waste of public funds.
Yes, that's what it is. So if I be the Attorney General of Lagos State, I will resign in shame.
All right,
how many people actually resign over
this kind of
It's a question of integrity.
Yes.
It's a question of integrity. If I be a senior lawyer and I give a wrong advice to my principal, and I will resign, I will go. If he does not go, let somebody sack him.
Just calm down.
We should calm down. We should calm down. Let me drink my food.
All right.
Calm down before you bust all your
Felix,
actions.
It's so annoying. It's so annoying.
Please, what did you put in the coffee today? Our guests are all hyper.
What's the name of supposed to know?
There's something in that coffee. I'm not saying it's in that coffee.
And I'm not a drug dealer.
He's now the social critic.
Yes. Okay,
Yes.
It's annoying. It's actually annoying.
Let's read from our viewers a bit. Felix Anyanwu says the Freedom of Information Act has been passed and signed into law. However, the people in authority make it difficult for the ordinary man to get to know what is happening in the government, which is true. Like, seriously, if I, as a citizen, and a tax-paying citizen for that matter, would want to get information on a particular project that was approved and is supposed to have been, like, exactly who and where do I go to? Because that will be the next question on people's mind. To access those kind of information, would I even be given, to the letter, that kind of information that
Freedom of Information Act say you'll be given. Maybe you apply. That's what the act says.
I should be given.
Yes, it's the law. You must be given. It's the law. Not should. It's a law.
But
it
then
must.
in reality, practically speaking,
That's what the court is saying. That is what the appeal court is re-emphasizing. Give them. What did the fella
let's
say?
hear
Give
Esosa.
them.
Esosa, you haven't said much on this issue.
I
Why?
haven't know because Mr. Femi has Because the truth in Nigeria, it always boils down to the same thing. There is what is on paper and there's what is practical. Yes, my line of work requires that I always get information. I have tried, and that's why I said should be. Because there's Nigeria, we are good with roadblocks. So we know how to just put those blocks everywhere. Maybe you've signed, maybe you wanted the act. I will sign it now.
But there's
Let's
a
see how you
caveat.
would access it. It's sad. I mean, like Mr. Ikem said, sometimes I don't know whether to be shocked, embarrassed, or just disgusted with the way things
No,
are.
do something.
Quick last words from you, Mr. Ikem.
We need to walk away from these nebulous, opaque systems we run. We need to open up a lot more. Nigerians don't even ask for for just too much. Very few things. This cost head, what was it for? That is the whole thing, this formation, freedom of information. You don't even want me to know that this cost head was for toilet tissues in the office. Did you buy it? If you budgeted for 10, did you buy 10? We are not even asking for the fact that the toilet tissue in the market sells for 50 naira, and then you will invoice for 150 naira. We want to know whether this thing was captured, whether this cost head was expended, as it were. Very simple things. We just want to ask, okay, what are your commissioners doing? How many roads have you tarred? Not even how much you spent on the roads. Very simple things. Let us open up a lot more. It will help government.
Okay.
It will help them relate.
All right, so sir, last words from you.
Last words. Honestly, we need to just do better as the people, as government, and as individuals. I think it actually starts with us. It actually starts with you and I saying, you know what, I need to be a bit more transparent. And if you really have your hands are clean and you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't be scared and running up and down and trying to hide information or hoard information when you should be eager and happy to just let people know.
Okay.
That.
All right, Mr. Georgia, quickly.
Government at all levels are stealing, and the stealing has not stopped. Transparency International told us, it's an independent body, that corruption has actually increased under this administration. Facts.
But do we believe those people? I don't believe.
Yes, we believe it. Now, what I'm saying this to Nigerians: politicians cannot change this country. Politicians cannot change your state. You must stand up. Organize yourself, whether into rallies, whatever. You must protest, you must march and demand for your rights.
Why is this? Why does it feel like we're going back to 1955 where we're calling for a boycott?
Rallies that you're going to be blocks that you won't be able to.
All right, our
continue to
time
do so.
is fantastically up on the show. Meanwhile, Mr. Williams just sent this in: a country where the people has no voice in the governance of their nation cannot have a say how their resources is being spent. I was a little boy when I heard that bail from police cell is free, but is that obtainable? Femi, I'm more angry than you are over all these shambles. I'm tired. Okay, all right. Thank you, people, for commenting. There's still a lot of feedbacks, but we can't do it. And we're supposed to look at the suspension of Senator Ovie Omo Agege. You know, it was very interesting at the Senate last week, but no time. Thank you, Mr. Oku. Thank you, Esosa. Thank you, Mr. All right, people. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow at noon for another enjoyable edition of The Buzz. Have yourself a good day.